Just finished the press conference with Mark Cooper. He was quite adamant in his speech that he didn't really want to get involved in any managerial mind games with Danny Cowley, because there's clearly been a lot of that in the past. There's a lot of history.
Definitely, yeah, there is a lot of history, and no, he played it down. He just wanted to like, I think we discussed this before. He looked very focused on the game, didn't he? And that's what it's all about. I think he's just realised Forest Green have just come off the back of an unbelievable result at Exeter, really.
Yeah.
So I think he wanted to point out we've just had a great result. Let's go get another one.
Yeah, I sensed a little bit of an edge with him today, as if an edge of being really focused for this game, because I know he says there's no managerial mind games, but I think personally it is a little bit personal between them.
I think inside it's a big one for both managers, especially hearing what Danny Cowley's been saying as well. You know, he's been talking about, we respect Forest Green, and he even said, I don't know if they respect us as much as we do. So, well, they say respect earned, innit? And I reckon Forest Green will want to go there and so-called maybe earn that respect, not just of Lincoln, probably the whole league as well. I think they've done that anyway, but what a statement it could be, and I'm sure everyone here would love to actually get one over Lincoln, just because of the history as well.
Yeah. The local media have even stoked it up a little bit with the Lincolnshire media. They've accused Mark Cooper of being smug at times, the football club as being an arrogant football club. So, you know, it just adds to the pot, really, doesn't it?
There's fuel to the fire, isn't there? And I'm sure Forest Green fans reading that, they'll be rifled by that, and hopefully they'll be singing loud and proud on Saturday. I'm sure the atmosphere will be great. Again, that's another thing Cooper talked about, the atmosphere.
10,000 people.
10,000 people, yeah. I mean, they've had some fantastic crowds. They've been getting 10,000 on a Tuesday night as well. But hey, those 10,000 people, I reckon they're a bit worried, because they've not won in 3 games, have they? So, you know, I mean, Mark played that down as well. But you know, if they don't get a result, the crowd could probably turn and say Forest Green take the lead, like they have done in a lot of games. So I'm sure a fast start is key on Saturday. And
there is an intense rivalry. It started in the non-league days when they were both neck and neck for the title. There always seems to be an incident, whether it's on the pitch. There was an allegation the previous season that the goalkeeper Collins, Forest Green's goalkeeper, had spat at one of the Lincoln players. That was disproved, but there is a real ill feeling.
Well, like you said, it started in the National League. You know, the two teams went toe-to-toe for the title, came up together, and they seem to be parallel, aren't they? They're both now looking towards League One. So these rivals, I mean, it's what football's all about, isn't it? You know, it's nice to have a bit of spice and something added on. You know, if the players are going to be fired up and there's going to be a few tackles flying in early on, great for us, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for us as the media, it's one of the games you really sort of look out for.
Definitely, yeah. You just want a bit of action, a bit of fire, a bit of you know, you do like a bit of drama between the managers as well. You want them to sort of play the mind game, so to speak, a bit like, you know, Ferguson, Wenger, Mourinho back in the day. Absolutely. You want a bit of that.
Yeah. Mark as well now is probably taking on paper, and well, without a doubt, the strongest team he's had in his time as manager of Forest Green. So they're going to give Lincoln a right good go. And also, I mean, you touched on it with him, the styles of play, but we talked about Cowley's and the pitch issue.
Yeah, Danny Cowley, after it was their game against Carlisle last Tuesday, they drew 2-2. I think it was 2-2. And obviously they followed that up with the defeat at Colchester. He was livid with the club for not watering the pitch. And obviously they've, well, as our columnist said as well, they are often renowned for being a long ball direct team. But that night Cowley was saying, we want to move the ball quickly, because against Carlisle, that's how they approach the game. They've got better attacking players now. And they're starting John Akinde as well, again a big target man, but they've got some good flair as well. So they wanted to move the ball quickly, and he was fuming that the pitch wasn't wet enough for them to do that. And obviously Forest Green will be hoping that is the case, so they can play their game. And like I've said before, with Forest Green, I think it is a case if they turn up with their game, because there have been games like Macclesfield where they were sort of forced to not play their game. I know parts of the last game I saw Northampton, it was similar in the second half due to the wind and you know, the way Northampton came out the second half, where they sort of were forced not to play their style, and that's probably where you can get Forest Green, I think. You can stop them playing their football. If you force them to go along, then it's like, oh, this is not what we do. We're good at what we do. So if Forest Green can really just get there playing their football early on, get a goal, let's hope it sort of quiets down the crowd, gets them to turn, against Lincoln rather than...
Yeah.
And then maybe force them into do something they don't want to do.
We touched on styles of play. Lincoln are renowned for the long ball, but by the sounds of it and what Danny Cowley is saying about wanting the surface slick, they're going to be maybe a little bit different.
I think it's probably coming through getting better players. I mean, their recruitment's been brilliant in the summer as well. Even stretching back to last January, like Cooper said, Lee Frecklington, he's a top experienced pro, played at a high level with Rotherham. So he's definitely sort of added to their ranks in a bit of quality. So they'll have better players on the ball, which could help them on Saturday. But it's an interesting one, isn't it, this game? Lincoln top of the league, but not winning 3. Forest Green won back-to-back games for the first time this season. Could this be a key game already in the season, do you think? Do you think will this have an effect, a bit of a bearing, or send out a message of how each team's season's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Forest Green can go there and get a win, that's a massive statement of intent, isn't it? And it was a massive statement of intent on Saturday at Exeter. Exeter had been flying 5 games winning streak at home, 3rd in the league, and they've gone there and absolutely smashed them.
Yeah, I wasn't at the game. I was on my annual leave, but buzzing to be back. Yeah. But I'm just gutted I missed that one. How after the result, I heard it was the best performance of the season. I heard Lloyd James was outstanding, and I suppose that was inevitable, wasn't it? That was always going to happen. But what a result! What a fantastic result to go there. You said they've been flying this season. They've been flying the last few seasons, haven't they? I know they lost Port Tisdale, but they've just picked up where they left off, and they're going to be there or thereabouts, aren't they? So it was a big statement. And you say if they can go to Lincoln and get a win, I think a draw is a good result Saturday. Just go, if they get a draw, just not lose to them. I think it will cement their place as contenders this season.
What has certainly been good this season from the games that I've seen is if a player makes a mistake this season, Mark Cooper's, like on Saturday at Exeter, there was a mistake by Sanchez at the end. He's onto the pitch, final whistle, cuddling him, getting him to keep his spirits up, and there does seem to be that sort of togetherness with the squad, and the manager's backing his players.
Well, that's all I've noticed throughout the start of the season, but obviously from what you saw last year, do you feel like the players in the dressing room are a lot more together? Was there maybe divides last season? Do you think there's better character?
That's possible. I just think the recruitment's better. Yeah. Last season they were fighting relegation, so feelings on and off the pitch aren't going to be great. There is a real feel-good factor amongst the squad, and that's because of wins, isn't it? And one defeat this season, incredible. 1 defeat in
16.
Yeah.
And another thing as well, I looked at the teams in the top 7 at the moment. So Forest Green have gone and beat Exeter, they've gone and beat Tranmere, and they've also drew to Newport and MK Dons, so they haven't lost to anyone in there at the moment.
No.
As obviously there's credible draws at Bury and Swindon, who you never know, they might crawl their way up the table themselves. So I think a lot of the players did as well. They do sort of relish these bigger games, don't they? Even last season, I think, like double over Coventry, the big games do sort of bring the best out of these players. So at the end of the day, looking where they are at the table, these are the games that are going to matter. So is this the biggest game of the season so far?
Well, last Saturday was really in lots of ways.
Yeah.
So it's another one again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the interesting thing as well, really, is that last few games, Reece Brown has just been out of this world. Premier League class, could play for Chelsea, according to Mark Cooper.
I remember a few weeks ago, I was sitting in the press box thinking, do we have to start worrying in January? Or maybe in the summer? Because I think he's the next one, isn't it? That's big teams will probably be looking at. Premier League, I think, cause it took him a bit of time here, didn't it? So I think he'd need to do the natural progression, go through the leagues to get there, which I think has definitely got the potential. He was very highly thought of at Birmingham, but a lot of people saying compared to last season, he's a different player, isn't he? Because what I've seen, he can do everything. He can actually header, he can actually tackle, and you don't.
He's a dynamo, isn't he? He's up and down the pitch. His position in the team has changed recently since being left out at Cheltenham. He's playing more advanced. He started the season as a holding midfield player. I would say now he's probably got licence to roam. Yeah,
licence to have more shots on goal as well, because he was saying, and I remember speaking to him at the FIFA launch, he was saying, my FIFA player's really good at scoring. I was just to get one for myself, and now he's finally cracked that and he got another one. So we could maybe see more goals from him now, can't we?
Few selection headaches at the weekend. Ruben Reid's fit again, but Tav Campbell's been on fire.
He is. I mean, Mark touched on it as well. He said that we could also have the option to play them both. Last time it didn't quite happen. I think Tav was brought off, wasn't he? But like Tav said as well, it's about building relationships, and that would take time. So maybe give it another go. It might be something Lincoln expect, so it could be a curveball, because Mark has thrown a couple, hasn't he? Which, and defence as well, Faz Rawson.
Yeah.
So
he's back again.
So do they go for a back three?
Yeah.
I mean, potentially, because Lincoln may play two up front. So Faz, Gunning and McGinn.
I mean, from following from last Saturday, you would say all go unchanged, but with Mark, he does like to tinker, so he'll probably keep his cards close to his chest and give the Cowleys something to think about. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, you can't give too much away, but I always say don't change a winning team. Why fix something if it ain't broken? So you would say, reward the lads for what they did at Exeter and let them go again. I said it to Mark in the press conference. Do you think this is a good time to play Lincoln with their current little blip? Well, you could argue it's a better time to play them than when they beat Port Vale 6-2, isn't it? So when I look at their squad, I think they'll just never be a good time to play them. So with that in mind, it probably is. But I think the worst thing in football is complacency. Yeah. I don't think that, I mentioned this Macclesfield game again, I don't think complacency was the problem that day, but it was a game so many for Forest Green would just turn up and win, and then it was a draw. So as long as the attitude's right, which it has been all season. We'll wrap things up now. Paul, prediction time. I'm going 1-0 Forest Green. My least favourite part of the video. You know me, I like my fence and I like sitting on it. I've got all my splinters all season, because I think I'm going to go for a draw. I think 2-2. Okay, a bit of a thriller then. Yeah. Okay.